Peace, family. Patrick Freeman, Anglo Black Man in Therapy, going live with Dynamic Wellness about institutionalized racism in chess and the money that follows that. So give us a second here as we bring them on. Dynamic Wellness on 4th and 8th Street. I believe it's 418 8th Street. Don't quote me on that. We're going to give you the exact address when they come on. Every Saturday at 2 o'clock, they have free chess instruction and also free coding for children. So you can get free coding and instruction for the kids, and you get free chess classes for the kids at Dynamic Wellness every Saturday at 2 o'clock. Your kids can be registered to compete on a national level in chess. It takes us a few short months to get them up to competition level, or they can learn coding. And all of these services are free of charge. Saturday education used to be part of our culture, and we need to do more of it in terms of educating our children. One of the good things that has come out of this crisis, this pandemic, is forcing us to be more active participants in our children's educations. Waiting to be joined here by Dynamic Wellness. We gotta bear with us, brothers and sisters. We got the elders in the house, and we did a test run a few minutes ago to walk them through that process, and hopefully they will be joining us here shortly. For those who've been listening to We Act Radio, we apologize. We're offline due to some equipment failure. So I hope you guys are enjoying DC's own and now Ethiopia's own K. Allen. Well, his mama called him Kenny Allen. I call him K. Allen, who has been our featured artist today. And so until we get back up and running, we will continue to feature independent artists with our dedication, of course, with independent media. All right, so waiting to bring Dynamic Wellness on, and they have sent the request. That's what I need to do. Got them now, all right? And I need a drink, so y'all gonna excuse me before we get this, while we have this interview started. Big Bobby,
Well,
Nate is coming. What's up, Bobby?
I'm great, man. It's a great day to be alive.
So, oh, right. It's a great day to be alive. I know that's right. For those who don't know, I'm actually getting over COVID, so we need to protect ourselves at all times. Wear our mask. The city had first rescinded the mask mandate, and then they re-implemented because the numbers of infection rates are one of the highest in the country. DC infection rates is one of the highest in the entire country right now, and just a few days ago, it was the highest testing numbers since the pandemic started. But in terms of your recovery, you can go see Nate Mines at DMV Wellness and the Dynamic Wellness Center. Nate, what's the exact address? Is it 416?
418 Street Northeast,
it's
Washington, D.C.
It's 418.
401.
401.
401.
401 8th Street Northeast for Dynamic Wellness.
Lower level.
Now, Brother Nate, real quick, can you let them know some of the things that people should be taking and coming to see you and other health spots for in their recovery from COVID?
We have a host of natural supplements, and one of them is elderberry, vitamin C, vitamin D, sea moss. These are the things what we want to do to share with people to keep their immune system strong. Mm-hmm. And they seem to be working very well because we have at least 5 or 6 people come through every day, and it's working. Believe me, it's working. And the address is 401 8th Street, lower level. And we just want to keep our people safe and healthy. That's all we want to do.
Now tell them about your Saturday education programs that you also do upstairs at Dynamic Wellness at 401 8th Street Northeast.
Right now, we've been sharing with everyone in the community. One of the world's best games ever played is chess. and it's open to all ages. We started with the young adults, young kids starting like 4 up to high school. Then we have a class for adults starting about 2 o'clock. We have chess tournaments here, and we are just blessed to share with the community about one of the world's greatest games, which is chess. I started many, many years ago in the fire department in the 60s. Guys were beating up on me, and I just had to go to the drawing board and get some strategies, and I had to turn that thing around. So I've been into chess for many, many years. When I was a firefighter, as a matter of fact, I was one of the first black firefighters in the city that I live in. Also along, we teach coding, Scratch. We have a STEM center upstairs also, science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have people, computer scientists, who are working with the kids of all ages. So we're just trying to bring our kids up to speed about this upcoming chess tournament throughout DC, throughout the DMV. And we are committed. Here at Dynamic Wellness, Mr. Von Bennett and I and a lot of instructors are committed to share with everyone how to play this game of chess and one of the things chess does, it creates in your mind how to figure things out for yourself. I call it a game of life. And believe me, it has strategies that will help you not only on the chessboard, but living out here in these streets.
Now, Bob and Nate Mines, Dynamic Wellness, what are you guys charging to teach coding and a game of life on a chessboard to these young people?
You know what? It's free. Believe it or not, I have committed myself at Dynamic Wellness. We don't charge nothing. We just want you to learn this game of chess and be prepared for the youngsters in about 16 months how to compete when all of these tournaments coming to Washington, D.C.
Correct.
This is what we want. We want right now throughout the city, I don't know, I think it's only a handful of kids, I think, who are prepared to enter this contest with all of these people from all over the country going to come here, and they come into our city to compete, and our kids are not even prepared. So that's what we are doing, preparing our children to compete in this worldwide sport of chess.
Well, that's what we're here to talk about, because Vaughn Bennett, a longtime chess teacher and instructor in Washington, D.C., had brought it to our attention. He says that due to institutionalized racism, D.C. is the only state in the U.S. where U.S. Chess Federation members from other states run the official U.S. Chess Federation chapter and conduct their D.C. state championships. So therein lies the problem. And we want to thank you, Brother Nate Mines, for your dedication to educating our children and supporting the culture of Saturday education.
A couple of weeks ago, we took a team of adult chess players over to Ballou High School. We were invited over there in the library. We played with the kids over there at Ballou, and it was a great experience. And that's what we're doing. We are going from school to school, wherever we are invited.
That was because you was invited by the librarian, correct?
Yes, we were invited by the librarian. And I had such a wonderful experience just communicating with these youngsters. You know, I had one time about 15 of them surrounding me and explaining to them why we were there and what we are doing and what they can do with the game of chess as far as winning a scholarship by winning 3 games in a tournament, you know, and it's being offered here in the DMV. And we want our kids to be a part of that.
Absolutely, since this is a multi-million-dollar sport, and people need to understand that kids can actually get scholarships to universities off of chess, and they can also make a living playing the game of chess. So
Absolutely.
I just want to publicly give you your flowers, Brother Nate Mines. People go see him at 401 8th Street Northeast, Dynamic Wellness, the DMV. Upstairs is the Society Education, chess and coding, and downstairs is all the wellness that you need for your keep your immune system up and also in your support you in your recovery. All right, so Brother Nate Mines, we want to thank you and salute you, sir. Thank you for making your institution available to the public for free and supporting us. And we want to turn it over to Brother Vaughn Bennett and to get into the nit and gritty of the problems at hand in the chess in Washington, D.C.
He got a lot to say.
Oh, man,
All right.
a little bit, just a little bit.
Good
Okay,
evening.
Vaughn, what's up, brother?
All right, good to see you. Thank you very much for having me.
Last time I saw you, brother, you was running up and down some flight stairs like a young man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Dynamic Wellness is working for you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's a blessing, get to wake up every morning. A whole lot of people don't, so we make the most out of the time we are given.
All right, there you have it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, 401 8th Street Northeast, Dynamic Wellness. Downstairs is the wellness. Upstairs is coding and chess. And you are looking at the instructor right here, the long time. He is like the C.R. Gibbs of chess in Washington, D.C. And for those who are not familiar with Washington, D.C., C.R. Gibbs is the foremost living historian in Washington, D.C. And this brother right here represents that same type of validity and weight he brings to the table when it comes to chess. So, Vaughn, I want to first tip my hat off to you and thank you for the years that you have committed to educating our children and spreading the knowledge of this game of life on a chessboard. So first I want to start out, what motivated you to dedicate your life to educating these kids about chess?
Well, I used to play chess when I first arrived in D.C. I thought I was one of the best players in the country. And I said, where are the best players? They said, DuPont Circle. I went down there and those guys beat on me for 2 years. While I was out there, a group of brothers came through the circle one day and they asked me that I want to get involved with organized chess. I said, yeah. They said, come with us. I went with them and we went and voted as a block. And I was just 22 years old. We voted as a block to determine who the president of the DC Chess League. I didn't know anything about the DC Chess League, didn't know anything about this organized chess, but we opened up a club, and it was a beautiful club, a 24-hour chess club located at 910 P Street, right across from Shiloh Baptist, where currently there is a cleaners. But we used to have twice a week tournaments, and those tournaments were actually announced in Chess Life magazine because the internet wasn't really up and running back then. But during that time frame, 87, 88, 89, we know that the crack epidemic was hitting really hard here. And where I live in Southeast, every single night, you could hear the gunfire, you could see a lot of things that people never wanted to see. So the Chess House of Washington was what it was called. It was one of my, was an oasis for me. It was something that was completely opposite to everything else that was happening because I saw 40 to 50 black men from multimillionaires to Air Force lieutenants to homeless individuals coming in and playing chess, real good chess. In fact, I got to see like 5 black masters. And so that was an inspiration to me. And then I became a DC firefighter. And 3 of my years I spent at the busiest firehouse in the United States, Engine 10, located at 1342 Florida Avenue Northeast.
That's the busiest station in the nation?
Yeah, it used to be. We used to run no less than 25 calls on the shift on the first of the month, Friday, Saturday, up to 40. So, and most of the calls would be medical calls. And then we get fires too. But it was a blessing to be able to help people in that fashion. But I would go home knowing I did the very best I could every single day, but wonder what could be done before the police or ambulance come for our children. When I left the department, I became a group home counselor, and then I became a psychiatric technician. And I found that the introduction of chess is an intervention tool worked 100% of the time. And I realized I needed to give this to my people. So I went to Southeast, started volunteering at Hannah Hawkins Children of Mind Center, Mountain View Place in Morris Road. One of my students back then was someone you may know, Nate Bennett Fleming, who was, I think, in 6th grade back in '97.
Nate is running for office right now. He's challenging the incumbent Anita Bonds.
Okay.
Shout out to Nate. Just got married, and he's applying some of the moves you taught him.
Absolutely. That's what we have to do in life. But the whole thing is that our children are champions. And what happened is I started giving tournaments, taking kids to tournaments, but I never knew that there was these scholarships available. So 2 years went by, and I think like at the end of 1999, I found out, or in the middle, in the summer of 99, I can't recall, but I found out there was these tournaments that children could go to and win the full scholarships. And I said, oh, well, then that means maybe we'll get a chance to send the kid from DC. And then I came to find out that it was only white children that had been representing the District of Columbia. And it would be okay if it was a fair, equal process, but it was completely jaded. It was completely controlled by a man who's an admitted racist. And so what I did, I went to the Board of Education, who then the president was Peggy Cooper Cafritz and Vice President William Lockridge, and I told them what was going on.
Well, I'm sorry, just can't just let that name slide. The late great Peggy Cooper Cafritz, who is one of the founders of the Duke Ellison School of the Arts. Please continue.
Yes, and they immediately, when I told them what was going on, they immediately passed a resolution to state that the DC Board of Education will be the sole entity to determine who would represent the District of Columbia at the national tournament where the children could win the full scholarships to college. You see, there's a tournament called it's a national high school tournament called the Denker Tournament of High School Champions. And each state sends their high school champion. And what this admitted racist did for almost a couple of decades, he sent like the son of one of his board members 5 years in a row, another one of his, and these are all white children. You know, and then at the same time, he was having a tournament for the black children and giving a child a trophy saying DC High School Championship, DC High School Champion, but nobody knew about this Denker Tournament of High School Champions. So after I told Ms. Cafritz and Mr. Lockridge about what was going on and they passed that resolution, David Mailer and his then treasurer of his board of directors, who also was the puppet president, Ralph Michael, the sole black person ever on the board of directors for the DC Chess League. They went to speak with Peggy Cooper Cafritz and William Lockridge, and after they spoke with them, they did not endorse their resolution. So what has happened, I saw the benefit of the game of chess for our children. I saw that our children are champions if they're properly taught. And I went about teaching them, volunteering as much as I could. And I was blessed enough to have seen one of my students, Colleen Washington, and March 3rd, 2001. Colleen from Northeast DC. Colleen today is a middle school teacher in Florida, but Colleen did something that nobody else had ever done before and nobody else will ever do again. What Colleen did, he went to the 2001 Maryland State Chess Championship, Elementary Championships, and won. Never been done before by somebody in DC. They didn't want to give us a trophy. And we said, look, you didn't say that before the tournament. You didn't say we had to be from Maryland before the tournament. So give us a trophy. And he got his trophy. The next weekend, Colleen went down to Virginia and won the Virginia Elementary Championship. And they didn't want to give us a trophy. We said, you didn't say that before the tournament. You have to give us our trophy. He said, no, we don't. We'll mail you a trophy. And so if you look today in Maryland, they have Colleen listed as the co-champion. They have the two people that he actually defeated. They made him play a speed game against two other people, and he beat them both. And I don't even train my kids to play speed. Yeah, but then the next weekend, when he went down to Virginia, if you look up the records, they have him listed as number 2, but he actually won first place. But these are things when I know that people behave in this fashion, that we're on the right path. But the benefit of the game of chess, for those children that were told that they need to be taking medicine, I've seen, and their parents have told me, that these children, when they come and play chess, they don't even need medicine to sit still and focus on 64 squares and all the possible moves. It's a beautiful thing. And the thing is on top of it, chess is a multi-million-dollar sport.
Okay, say it again, brother. Say it again, because I need people to understand.
It's a multi-million-dollar sport, and we're going to dig into that. And I have to jump to today.
Let me put a pin in right there, Brother Vaughn. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies, you're listening to We Act Radio. We're joined here today with Vaughn Bennett, who has dedicated his life to teaching our children chess for a number of decades in Washington, D.C. You can see the pinned tweet, a pinned comment, rather, or you can join Dynamic Wellness, 401 8th Street. It says Northwest, but it's Northeast. I apologize. I have to correct that. It's 401 8th Street Northeast in Washington, D.C. Each and every Saturday at 2 o'clock. You can, your kids can learn chess and coding. Again, I turn it back over to Brother Vaughn Bennett here with us today.
Well, man, there's so much to it. So let's go back to when we were starting. So when I was first starting in the late 90s and early 2000s, and we were taking our kids to the tournament, you have to go out, you got to travel an hour away out in Maryland, 2 hours down in Virginia to get the kids to a rated tournament. I wasn't running rated tournaments. And rated means it's sanctioned by the US Chess Federation. And I want to tell you, it's only 25 cents to rate a chess game. And a child may play 5 games on a Saturday. That's $1.25. So why is it that since 2009, or really since 2000s, but John Rockefeller V is the scholastic director of the Maryland Chess Association. And since 2009, when he runs the bi-monthly tournaments, he was charging the children pre-COVID $20 in advance, $50 to $80 at the door. Now you may say, well, why would somebody who's one of the richest families in the country charge children when it's only 25 cents to rate a game? Well, it's not too hard to deduce when they don't want you to be in the room, when they don't want you to benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will, jumping forward to today, Magnus Carlsen, who is the world chess champion, he released his financial report on November 17th, 2021. And the financial report that he released said that he, Magnus Carlsen, made $59 million in 2021. All right.
Say that again, brother.
Magnus Carlsen, world chess champion all the way from Norway, he made $59 million in 2021. Magnus Carlsen, world chess champion all the way from Norway, found chess to be so important in the District of Columbia that on August 25th, 2021, he purchased a chess organization right here in DC. So when you add up all the different things that are going on, and I know there's a whole lot to talk about, and I know you told me, brother, that this was not the only time that we'll be able to do this.
That's right.
So, there's a whole lot to it. So over the course of time, I was able to pursue legal actions against these people for the violations of our rights. I filed a lawsuit to attempt to try to sue the players, the US Chess Federation, the racist David Mailer, the DC Chess League, even the University of Maryland at Baltimore County.
What have been some of the results of your efforts in exposing the institutionalized racism in chess in Washington, D.C.?
Well, due to Samboism and cowardice, it hasn't gone very far. And actually, I believe that this interview will be one of the most significant interviews ever done on chess in D.C. So we're going to give it to them.
Well, you hear that, folks? It's up to you. We are the media. We are the leaders we've been waiting for. So when you get this interview, share it with your networks, pass it along. Make sure your children, if you are in the DMV area, are able to participate and benefit from chess and coding. Free classes at Dynamic Wellness, and the correct address is in the pinned comments at 401 8th Street Northeast, Washington, D.C. Again, we're joined here with Brother Vaughn Bennett, who's dedicated decades of his life to educating our children and exposing the inequities in these institutions. Because I feel like that's what we're here to do, Brother Vaughn. We're here to, to break the chains, break the cycle, and stop the BS. And until we start challenging these institutions in an aggressive manner, calling out the old boy network, we here to put some paint where it ain't and set the story straight. So please continue. I just want to make sure that our listeners know that it's incumbent on them to share this information as well.
Oh yes. So now I'm gonna tell you and the world something that most people don't get to hear. So in 1992, there was a black man, chess player, one of the best black chess players in the country in New York. And he said he had just read the autobiography of Malcolm X, Brothers. I've been speaking with the brothers, and what we need to do is unite. We need to come together. We need to have our own tournaments. Look, if we all gained 200 points, look where we would be. And it would be that all of those brothers would be grandmasters. And so Maurice Ashley, who wrote that letter in 1992, then went about having independent tournaments where the best brothers in the country were coming together. And he did it 4 times. And then he stopped. And he stopped because the U.S. Chess Federation began to give him invitations. You see, in order to reach the NBA, NFL levels of chess, you get a title of grandmaster or international master. And I would say 95% of the time, to become an international master, you must be invited to particular tournaments where you'll play 9 games over 10 days, and there'll only be 10 people there. This happens every single weekend in the United States. And so once you play in this international master norm tournament, which is similar to in martial arts when you pursue a belt of a higher rank and you get 3 brown stripes, you get a black belt. Well, in chess, if you have 3 international master norms, you become an international master. If you have 3 grandmaster norms, then you become a grandmaster. So the thing is, it's 99% of the time, people only become grandmasters 99% of the time unless they are invited to particular tournaments. So Maurice Ashley, who used to be outspoken, he began getting invitations from the U.S. Chess Federation and other individuals to go and play in these tournaments where he could become an international master. And he stopped giving those tournaments. And then in 1999, they let him in. They invited him to a tournament. They let him in because chess was in the Olympics in the year 2000, and you had no black grandmaster in the history of the world until 1999 when they let Maurice Ashley.
I'm sorry, Brother Vaughn. Did you say that chess is a competition in the Olympics?
It was in the Olympics in the year 2000 in Sydney, Australia, and they spoke about it being a part of the last Olympics. But I believe there's too many of them using drugs, mental enhancement drugs, like Adderall and other things, but that's another story. Yeah, it was in the Olympics. And in the United States,
people taking performance enhancement drugs for chess?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There are drugs that can have, like Adderall. They have you be more focused for those hours, you know. It's something that, but there's a level of cheating that takes place in chess. But besides all that, you know, this is a game that goes back to ancient Africa because inside some of the pyramids, there are chessboards on the wall. But bringing it back to what happened in '99, well, Ashley, he never said anything about the autobiography of Malcolm X. He never had any more of these unity tournaments. In fact, today, Ashley has become a multimillionaire. And if you see anything about international chess in the world and there's a black face, it's his black face, right? And I don't know if you read that book, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Well, they have him sitting as the
yes, Baba Sam Greenlee, who was a good friend of mine. And not only did I love him, read his work, seen his film, but he's also honored at the Black Love Festival. And I had the honor of speaking at his funeral. So yes, I do know the late, great Sam Greenlee.
Wow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So the thing is that so Ashley was the first black grandmaster in the whole world, right? In 1999. And in the United States today, 2022, he is still the only black grandmaster in the United States. But in Africa, there are 11 black grandmasters today. And in Africa, there are women who are masters, international masters, and grandmasters. In the United States, not one woman of color has the title of master. And what most people don't know about was that one of the best women in the country in the year 1981 was a sister from DC, 15 years old, named Baraka Shabazz. Baraka Shabazz was the number 6 ranked woman in the country, a sister. Baraka Shabazz, she played 30 people at the same time up at Howard University. But what happened with Baraka, so I was told, that she was at the World Open and she defeated a Caucasian who, instead of knocking the pieces off the board to express his frustration, he kicked her underneath the table. And it caused a big fight, as you can imagine. And then she said she was never going to play again, but she hasn't, and she hasn't. You know, there's a lot of sisters and brothers that can play. She didn't reach the title of master, but she was one of the closest, you know. And then that sister in '81, she was one of the few blacks to ever go represent the United States in world competition. And she was invited to go to the World Under-16 competition, and she came in number 3 in the world. So I just giving you a little context because chess is a game that we as a people have a natural affinity for. When you consider the challenges in life that we have to deal with and go through, from slavery all the way forward, and how we've had to navigate our way through things. Harriet Tubman, you know, that's straight chess master right there, you know. But it just, in this day and age, this last frontier of sports, we're intentionally kept out of it.
Well, I just want to put a pin right there, Brother Vaughn, because this games means so much to me, because I was denied any knowledge of chess as a youth. I wasn't introduced to this game until I was 27. I was 27 years old. We was coming off U Street, all the open mics and the poetry venues, and afterwards we would smoke weed and play chess. And that just really was a paradigm shift for me mentally, because it really took my mind to a higher level. I started moving differently. I actually, when I was fired from the post office, and I was distraught and didn't know what I was going to do, I ended up teaching kids how to play chess for 2 years, and that's how I paid my rent for 2 years. You know, just to get me to the next thing. So really understand that this is not just a game. It is life. It helps you discernment and moves. It helps you think strategically. It helps our kids with conflict resolution and focus. And having all these facts documented to be of benefit to our children academically is still a resistance to have this education implemented into the public school system. My experience was only Hyde Elementary elementary school in Georgetown was the only public school to allow my black ass in there to teach kids how to play chess, and a few other charter schools, because the charter schools make their own decisions internally, where the public schools are beholden to a system that may or may not be functioning properly, which is another reason why we have a disproportionate amount of charter schools and at the expense of public education and what have you. So I just want to put some paint where it ain't to let folks know that this is an insidious problem that's been denied to our children, and they need to understand the value that chess brings to the table, and making sure that it is part and parcel of their children's education, of which you have dedicated decades of your life to ensure that they have the opportunity and access. But beyond the institutionalization of racism within, as you know, Dr. Wilson would like to say, and God bless Nellie Fuller, white supremacy raising its head on the board, because white moves first. The board is set up correctly because the white box is to the right, hence white is right. And I never lose the opportunity to address the symbolism and the significance of that in my chess classes. But I just want to put that out there. But I want to speak specifically to your experiences in trying to spread chess into the educational system, and also for the systemic racism that you are encountering and calling out, and what we can do about it.
Yes, sir. I do want to. You made a couple of comments, and because I saw somebody wrote about the Moors playing chess, and that was very, very true. But in 1786, Dr. Benjamin Franklin wrote a paper called The Morals of Chess, and then he said chess is more than a mere game of idle amusement, that it impacts all the human attributes of life. For chess is a kind of life. That's what he wrote. And so the thing is that if he wrote that recognizing the benefits of the game, how come it isn't commonplace? How come it isn't? So it is such that only the Russians have, well, I shouldn't say only the Russians at this point, but the Russians were the first country to ever make their entire country learn how to play chess. And there's a reason why, that they've become some of the best in the world. But the thing is, what you talked about, the academic benefit in chess, to properly, by the rules, play a game, you must write your moves and your opponent's moves using a combination of alphabets and numbers called algebraic notation. Each chess piece has a relative numerical value, so you're constantly adding and subtracting. So it is not a coincidence that we don't get to learn chess in that fashion until we can teach ourselves. Because the thing is, this is a sport, and over 650 million people play this sport. But we only have one black grandmaster in the U.S., right? And So the thing is, it's about access and access being denied. In the District of Columbia, there's an 80-year-old organization that is unincorporated called the DC Chess League. And I was there in 1988 when the first person from DC was ever elected on to their board. And in fact, he was the first Black and then the only Black ever on their board. That puppet president, who I have told him that he is a Sambo, like in Uncle Tom's Cabin.
All right, now this is We Act Radio. Now you got we name names. This is We Act Radio. We name names here.
Ralph Michael has been the Sambo puppet president of the DC Chess League since 1988. His master is the racist David Mailer. He was the treasurer for Mailer's board since 1992. And he's still today president of the DC Chess League. Well, what is the significance of the DC Chess League? Well, the DC Chess League is the quote unquote state affiliate for the District of Columbia, meaning that they're the only chapter of the US Chess Federation in DC that can determine who the champion is for children, who the champion is for women, who the champion is for seniors. In fact, the DC Chess League decided a few weeks ago that they were going to announce a tournament on Tuesday, that a tournament that was going to happen that Saturday and Sunday. And you had to sign up for this tournament by Friday. And then they ran this tournament and they said only 20 people can play in it. They had this tournament, only 10 people from DC played in it. And they determined from that tournament, the DC Chess League determined that, oh, we have a DC champion and we have a DC senior champion. So what does that mean? That means that senior champion gets to go off to represent DC at the National Senior Championship. These are things that, and there's thousands and thousands of dollars connected with it. Every year, there's an elementary school championship. There's a $20,000 prize fund plus scholarships available. DC sends a representative, or is supposed to send a representative every year. There's a middle school championship with the same attributes, $20,000 in prizes plus scholarships. There's a high school championship that I mentioned. Our children have been systemically kept out because of the atmosphere that's been created by the admitted racists and, again, David Mailer, and which I didn't say, many children have accused David Mailer of inappropriate behavior. So with Mailer, and he's a white lawyer, what he does, he has Black people that look like you and I, but they're not. They espouse his racist ideology and they promote them, and it will go around and say, we're one big happy community, right? But the thing is, give you a prime example. 2 weeks ago, the US Chess Federation announced that they were giving scholarships to high school students, right? And they said that, you know, you have to play chess and you have to do some chess activity, but the main requirement was that you must have 25 games of chess in. And as Brother Nate said earlier, our children aren't able to get those games in. Why? Because they don't know about playing in rated events. You know, I've done everything that I could, committed myself to letting the world know that our children need to be playing rated events. Right now, in 336 days, or 35, there will be a national championship held at the Gaylord National Harbor, Prince George's County, right? And there'll be 2,500 children, plus parents, plus coaches coming to our city for a whole week, right? And then you think about it, they don't even give rated chess tournaments in Prince George's County. That is the Maryland Chess Association under John Rockefeller V. Yet they're going to bring in 335 days the biggest tournament in the country to Prince George's County.
Did you say that the county with the highest African-American population in the entire state of Maryland and the most profit or the most highest income of Black people of any county in the country doesn't have rated chess games?
No. The children, the Maryland Chess Association has never given a rated chess tournament in Prince George's County. So that says quite a bit when they're bringing the biggest tournament in the country to PG County. And look, 3 months later, in March of 2023, that the National High School Championships are going to be held at 1919 Connecticut Avenue in the Reagan Hilton. And 2 months after that, in May of 2023, they're going to be the elementary championships at the Baltimore Convention Center. So these are multi-million-dollar generating events. Now, did they come to me or you or anybody else to say, look, we're going to bring these multi-million-dollar events to your city. We want you to come and work with us to do this. We want your kids to be ready for it. No. If you don't go to the US Chess Federation website, you would never know that this is going to happen. But these are tournaments where they're coming to us, and it's just like if it was a national football championship or a national basketball championship. You know, if it was, everybody be screaming, hey, we need to play every single weekend, which is what we need to do to get our kids ready. But it's not a coincidence that we have this kaleidoscope of racist characters from Virginia to Maryland and our Sambos in DC, keeping it away from us because there is a significant gap in skill between Black chess players and white chess players. See, they're going to promote us standing up in the park, playing speed chess, talking stuff, you know, they're going to make commercials, you know, Hennessy and all that, yeah. But when you really look at it, there's still only one Black grandmaster, and he's a multimillionaire now, you know? So our children deserve to be a part of that. How can they get involved with it? Believe it or not, until the U.S. Chess Federation changes their rules, which they probably will soon, every single person can become a club level tournament director and run tournaments for 60 people, meaning that you could collaborate with other individuals, run a tournament for a couple hundred people and make thousands of dollars, just like John Rockefeller V was doing twice a month pre-COVID.
I want to give a big shout out to the Big Chair Chess Club, DC's own brother Eugene Brown. For those who are unfamiliar with brother Eugene Brown, and it was actually a Big Chair Chess house on Minnesota Avenue for a number of years with the program he ran. But there was a film done on his life, and he was portrayed by Cuba Gooding Jr. And the title of the film was Life of a King. Life of a King with Cuba Gooding Jr. with DC's own Eugene Brown. I just want to give that brother a shout out and hopefully add that to your movie list. You can watch with your young people. And again, we're joined here with Vaughn Bennett. Vaughn Bennett is a longtime DC chess instructor for a number of years, and he has dedicated his life to exposing the institutionalization of racism in the Chess Federation, and also exposing and expanding opportunities and access to children to learn this game. Brother Vaughn, how can people in the sound of our voice get their young people involved with your program and you know, be able to participate in some of these rated chess games and also participate in the upcoming tournament that you were speaking of?
Yes, well, we are preparing our students right now for that. And, you know, they can come out to Dynamic Wellness on Saturdays from 2 to 4 for our classes. And also you can contact me, send an email, Vaughn_Bennett@yahoo.com. But I wanna take things a little deeper, you know, and I hope that after I tell you this next information that you have me back on the show.
Brother. We still got 20 minutes for the program. The floor is yours.
So I didn't know the hidden hand truly behind all of these things, but I'm gonna take you to Trump. So Trump has appointed what he appointed like 200 judges, and there's 5 or 6 judges on the Supreme Court who are members of what? The Federalist Society, that ultra conservative racist organization, and they are established to make sure that our rights are not upheld, especially in chess. So how do I know this? It's because the admitted racist David Mailer is a member of the Federalist Society. One of Mailer's founding board members of the U.S. Chess Center Foundation is the president of the Federalist Society, Eugene Meyer. If you go on the website for the Federalist Society and look at the president, Eugene Meyer, you'll see that he sits on this board. And this is the board of the organization.
This board has a budget of $20 million in revenue. Yeah. I just want to throw that out there. And it's an organization of conservatives and libertarians that advocates for conservative textualization and interpretation of the United States Constitution.
Right.
Please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to put some paint where it.
No. That's important because you want to see the connection between all this. So you have a board member that's the president, 30-year president of the Federalist Society, and Eugene Meyer. You have David Mailer, admitted racist, that the children have accused of inappropriate behavior, who's the founder of the U.S. Chess Center. And then the current 10-year chairperson of the U.S. Chess Center is another member of the Federalist Society.
Now you said admitted racist twice. What is it that was the smoking gun for this gentleman? And again, this is where we name names for his racism.
Yes, David Mailer, admitted racist. He received a 20-year, $100 million lease in 1992 on 13,000 square feet at 1501 M Street, Northwest, a few blocks from the White House, where he opened up the U.S. Chess Center. And he, in that time period, made sure that no black children got to represent the District of Columbia at the National High School Championships that I spoke of earlier, where the children could win the full scholarships. In fact, he sent the son of one of his board members, not once, not twice, but 5 years in a row. Nobody has ever gone to that tournament 5 years in a row, and the boy lost every year. But before he sent that boy, he was sending another one of the white children that was working for him. Did I say it was a $100 million lease for 20 years? He got rent free at 1501 M Street, 13,000 square feet. And then his annual yearly revenue for his organization is approximately $250,000 to $300,000. So you can add it up from there, how much money this man has generated, right? And it's only 25 cents to rate a chess game. So we could have been having, instead of, or in addition to midnight basketball during the, the times that we needed to have that, we could have had midnight chess, But the thing is that there's a significant gap that exists between black chess players and white chess players. And it's not because we can't play, because when they let Maurice Ashley in to become the sellout Maurice Ashley in to become a grandmaster in 1999. When they let him in, he was 33 years of age. But there's children that are 12 years old that have become grandmasters. So it's not rocket science, it's access denied. So what these people have done, they have conspired to keep us away from being able to reach our highest heights in this. In Virginia, every year a child gets to go represent, or children get to go represent the United States in international competition. In Maryland, every year a child wins a full scholarship, $200,000 scholarship to the University of Maryland at Baltimore County, just by winning 3.5 or 4 games of chess. But what has happened is you have, again, white racists from Virginia and Maryland that have combined their efforts to make sure they keep us down. White racists who are running the organizations for chess in Maryland and Virginia, who make sure that DC has an atmosphere of no standard, no accountability, no chess playing the way they do. In fact, in Virginia, to determine their champion, they don't have an open tournament where anybody can come and play. They have a closed tournament. And you know how big Virginia is. Well, why did the DC Chess League a few weeks ago have an open tournament that only 20 people could play in, and half of them weren't from DC? So, but this is the clear, and then they have these Sambos that'll walk around, and I use that word very specifically, not Uncle Tom, because Sambo beat Uncle Tom to death for not telling on the 2 black women that escaped the plantation in the book, So the thing is that we have these Sambos in the District of Columbia who would tell you it's okay to sit at the banquet of chess with an empty plate when the people sitting across from you are eating and their plate is full. They would have you to have that delusional thinking that it's okay. And so this is what is going on, this creation of an illusion for all these decades. But we have an opportunity to kick down the walls to keep our children out.
Well, how can we go about to challenge the DC Chess League, and particularly in having an open tournament when others are closed? I think that's a low-hanging fruit there. And beyond that, what can we do for ourselves to making sure that more of our children are exposed and are able to participate?
Well, one, I want to suggest that we unite, that we put our differences aside and come together. Not that there's anything, any differences you and I have or anybody. I'm saying in general, we as a people, we have been conditioned to be one against another. We need to come together and again, we know John Brown and others that because right now I teach children of a diverse population over the District of Columbia, and I have said the same thing to their parents, so they know. And they know it's not right what's being denied, not only our children, but their children, because there's an atmosphere that's created of where the genius that's in every one of our children, the genius is not able to be shown for chess. And so what we can do is unite and create, like we did, the brothers when they came and got me in DuPont Circle. We voted as a block. So we need to have about 100 people join the U.S. Chess Federation and let them know over the next month and a half or 2 months, I think we have till March, to let them know we no longer want the DC Chess League as our representative. Tell you how dirty the DC Chess League is. If you go to their website and look at their constitution, you'll see, I believe it's Article 11. I can't, let me see. But either way, under the DC Chess League, they are supposed to only allow DC members of the U.S. Chess Federation to vote in their elections to determine the officers. Well, the DC Chess League has never allowed only DC members of the U.S. Chess Federation to determine who the officers are going to be. In fact, last February, they voted out, well, he didn't run again, but for about 10 years, the vice president of the Virginia Chess Federation was the executive director of the DC Chess League. And so last February, they had a secret election where about 9 people voted, only 2 people from DC, and they elected an Asian woman who's an Illinois member of the U.S. Chess Federation to be the executive director. Megan Chen is her name. And this is Ralph Michaels doing, the puppet Sambo president. He had a secret election where they now have an Illinois member of the U.S. Chess Federation as the executive director of the D.C. Chess Federation. Wow. So when we talk about the opportunity, the sovereign rights to chess, the opportunities for economic, because we can all be economic opportunities that are taken away from us by us not being able to run the championship tournaments. The educational opportunities, because our people don't know the benefit of sitting there and the natural Ritalin. This chess is a natural Ritalin. If there's any medicine needed, we can let people sit and play chess. You know, the social political benefits of chess, where you sit across from someone, you have to respect the rules, respect your opponent, respect yourself, and you build a bridge with someone, even if you don't speak the same language. That has intentionally been kept away from us. But look at what they do in New York. Every single weekend in New York, there's multiple tournaments that you can go to. And guess what? They have free tournaments for the children in New York, which is one of the things that we have been doing with the Nate Mines and the DC State Chess Federation, which is our organization. We've been giving free tournaments for years. And so this is what we want to continue. We want our children to get ready to go claim their titles and go do their very, very best at these nationals that are coming here. And we want our children and our people to be able to benefit from economically from chess. I have to add this. Chess has been proven to help delay the onset of dementia in senior citizens. And that's a serious thing, because how does that work? Well, there's a particular portion of your brain, in the back of your brain, called the fusiform face area. And the fusiform face area is a part of your brain that helps you remember people's faces. And chess has been proven to help strengthen that portion of the brain. So, but these are the things that studies have been done, and people know this, but they keep it away from us, this city. So, you know, if you think about what the DC Chess League has been doing, it'd be just like if the DC Council was run by people from Maryland and Virginia. Nobody would stand for that. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that we have been so anesthetized to this sport of chess and getting nothing that people think it's okay. And again, you have these cheerleaders for these white supremacists that look like you and I that will say, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. We're giving access to it. Last year, when they determined who the elementary school champion was, there was only 6 kids in that tournament. I think the high school tournament only had 10 kids in it. We got thousands and thousands and thousands of children that would want to play in a tournament where they can win a scholarship or win thousands of dollars.
Well, brother, I just want to point out, we're addressing the inequities on the basis of race and the participation. Yeah, excuse me, I'm getting over COVID, y'all. The participation of our young people in chess. But I've also noticed there's a very small number of girls that play. Do you think there's also sexism in the institution of chess?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is that, you know, the girls over the 25 years that I've been teaching chess, they have patience, a level of patience and attention to detail that quite often our young boys don't have right away. And teaching them, but what happens is it's been stigmatized as a male game, you know. So what we have to do is break that and let our young ladies see that they are queens. Let them see that they are
most
powerful
piece on the board.
There you go. That's right. That's right. That's right. The most powerful piece on the board.
I've seen grown men cry when they lose their queen.
That's right. That's right. That's
Some
right.
of them
That's
give
right.
up.
But you know, yeah, but just like that pawn is overlooked and disregarded, like someone that is homeless, someone that is strung out on drugs and alcohol, that lowly 1-point pawn, we know that just like we have to struggle to be successful, that lowly 1-point pawn can be promoted to any piece you need to win. And there's 8 pawns, and most of the time people promote that pawn to a queen.
Yeah, your position is pivotal. Your position is pivotal. All right, so we just got 5 minutes left here. I want to make sure that we didn't leave any rock unturned. This is the first of a series of conversations that we will continue to have. But one of the top 3 things that, because this is We Act Real, my motto is to do something. So on our to-do list, when people walk away from this interview, obviously the first thing would be is to share this this interview and this content with your network, because we are all part of the media. And the next thing that you had mentioned that you wanted people to actually join the Chess Federation?
Well, this is, you know, there's some plans that we can talk about that we can unite and maybe even create our own separate representing or sanctioning body of chess in the United States, because just like there used to only be the WBC and WBA, and then the IBF came along and nobody thought it would last, and now you have a whole alphabet of boxing sanctioning bodies. Well, because the U.S. Chess Federation has stood behind and supported a systemic racism where they know they're sanctioning tournaments where Black people don't get invited to. Those Grandmaster Norm tournaments, those International Master Norm tournaments that we don't get invited to, they know that there's a system there that keeps Black people out. And I'll tell you, one of the worst scenarios is that there's a brother named William Morrison. The brother's up in Baltimore. And in 1995, at age 35, UMBC, University of Maryland at Baltimore County, gave that brother a full scholarship. And in 1995, Morrison achieved one of the highest ratings ever for any Black person on the planet. He achieved a rating of 2535, equivalent to a Grandmaster. While the brother was in Baltimore at UMBC, he played Gary Kasparov, and he probably could have beat him, but he missed a move. And so the thing is that I told you, he was on a team at UMBC where they were international masters and grandmasters, right? And there's people that became grandmasters that were there right there with him. Guess when they invited him to a tournament where he could become an international master? In 2018, right? So we're talking about from 95, when he had a rating, he was 35 years of age, they intentionally did not give him access to it. Going back to the business of chess, because this is important. In Africa, when you talk about running chess tournaments, you have like Little League referees and World Series referees, right? A Little League tournament director is called a club tournament director. The highest level of tournament director you can reach is an international arbiter. In Africa, men have been international arbiters for decades. In Africa, there are at least 2 women who are international arbiters. In the United States, the first and only Black they let in to become an international arbiter, they let him in 2014. So we can talk about all these things, but the thing is, we have to have a plan of action, as you mentioned. And one, we need to come together so that we can get rid of the DC Chess League and start running our tournaments, determining who our champions are going to be, and giving fair and equal access to everyone in the District of Columbia. Because they're not only affecting our children's educational opportunities, they're affecting our social political opportunities, all right? They're affecting our economic opportunities, because if there's a 2,500 children plus coming to DC for a whole week, you know that's going to generate millions. And that's just not going to happen once. It's going to happen 4 times from 2022 to 2024. So we have an opportunity to get together and maybe we can make some of that $59 million that the world chess champion made this last year.
Well, I hate to put you on the spot right here, Brother Vaughn, but what is the first step in challenging the DC League and possibly taking it over, if not implementing our own?
Well, one, the reason I said we need to have members, people join the U.S. Chess Federation, unfortunately, I hate to have to tell you that, but it's a $50 fee that you'd have to pay. But the thing is, when we have those numbers of DC residents, DC members of the U.S. Chess Federation, we can outnumber them, all right? We still have numbers on our side in the city. You know, we know gentrification is taking place, and the power of you know, it's no longer, they don't any longer call it Chocolate City, but there's still enough people that if we can find people that have the courage, that are willing to take a stand, to try to fight against this and give the people, the children, access, then the first thing that we can do is have everybody join the U.S. Chess Federation under a DC address, right? So you use a DC address, become a DC member of the U.S. Chess Federation, and then we vote together. And come, we'll have a meeting here. In fact, maybe we can announce the meeting that we're going to have here at Dynamic Wellness, or maybe we can do one online and get everybody together and make the next moves to get the DC Chess League out from get their foot off of our neck, get the foot off of the neck of chess in the District of Columbia.
Well, perhaps we can get the young people there each and every Saturday at 401 8th Street Northeast, Dynamic Wellness upstairs for coding and chess, and maybe those parents can then participate and become registered district registrars for the Chess Federation, and we can continue to amplify the cause of collaborating our efforts so that we can actually affect change in our lifetime. You know, like I said before, you know, break the chain, break the cycle, and stop the BS. And we want to thank you. We want to thank Bob and Nate for making the venue space available, and we want to thank you, Brother Vaughn, for your time and social capital and social equity and social and sweat equity. And making sure that this issue didn't go unnoticed, and also expanding the opportunity for our children and young people, and also our elders, because you said this is also beneficial to all of us. And so and as you said, you know, the entire we used to call it the Soviet Union when we was in school. I remember getting a test wrong because I put Russia instead of USSR. You know what I'm saying? But now it's Russia. You know, so you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen so many things change in our lifetime. And I think this is one of the next necessary moves because it is actually preparing us to make better moves. And clearly, we as a people need to make better moves, and we need to think for ourselves and do for ourselves, and which is why we bring it back to Black Love Festival later this year. Now, the last thing I want to close out with, Brother Vaughn, we got this tournament coming up at the end of the year. The best way for people to get their young people involved is to have them involved with your program on Saturdays at 2 o'clock. And for those who may not be able to patronize you at that specific time, is there any time or any way outside of that they can participate?
Yeah. Well, we give online classes as well. And please, if you could post my email address, it's Vaughn_Bennett@yahoo.com.
Yeah, we'll be sure to share it in the information for the permanent video for this live stream. And we'll, of course, be sharing this content across all of our platforms, and it will also be broadcasted terrestrially. So I'll give you this opportunity one more time to give your email out for those who will be listening to us audibly.
Yes, VAUGHNBENNETT@yahoo.com. Vaughn_Bennett@yahoo.com.
Now, Brother Vaughn, you get the last word in. I might sneak one in as well. But what is one of the things that you tell your young people and your students when you're taking your chess class that you repeat constantly?
Move with confidence. Believe in yourself. In chess, only the attacker wins.
There you have it. And I'll just throw my little 2 cents in. Think before you move. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been We Act Radio, Dynamic Wellness, Brother Nate Mines, and Brother Vaughn Bennett. Please, by all means, support these brothers and make sure that, if not your young people, but young people that you know are able to benefit from their free Saturday classes at 2 p.m. with chess and coding. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies, We Act Radio. Do something.
Yes, sir. Peace, peace.